Here's a Winegard Wi-Fi extender. Picked this up off Amazon as a refurb of all things because it was half price and they guarantee that it will work. Despite that guarantee, before I get up on the van and start screwing it down and attaching everything, I'm going to test it out right here in the garage. So this thing is pretty neat. It's a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi repeater, and it has a very long cord along with another very long cord that combined can reach the roof of most vehicles. We already have power up there, so I'll probably just trim this off when the time comes to install it and wire directly to that. And but for now, what I'm going to do is take this guy, which is a little connector fitting that pairs with the one inside this bag, and I'll just connect it directly to this 12-volt power supply. Now, this device should only take about an amp. This power supply can do quite a bit more than that, so not worried about that. Should do what we need. Okay, so we've got the cable, which has the fitting on one end and loose wires on the other, and the fitting plugs into the wire coming the cable directly out of the repeater device. So pretty straightforward. I'm just going to strip these down real quick and connect them to these little lever nuts and hook it into the power supply. Be right back. Alright, it's all together, already set. Now I could theoretically just plug this in and go right now, but the truth is I need to spend a little more time on the manual before I turn this thing on. It's probably no big deal. Sometimes I would do that sort of thing. But today I want to play it safe. So I'm going to skim this for a few minutes and then I'll probably give it a go. Alright, so it says here, important, do not lose this manual. It contains your unique factory default SSID and password. I don't think it actually says it in the manual, but it does say it on the bottom of the device. Alright, I think I've read enough of this, and I just realized you guys get to see what a horrible mess of a garage we have. But what can I say? It is constantly in use, and we really should be better about cleaning up, but yeah. Anyway, so I am going to plug this in. So now the manual says you should have a switch, but instead I'm just going to do that. Alright, I see a light come on the back of this. It's a good sign. So far no smoke. It's an even better sign. It's going to sit on the van about like that. Now, something that was really hard for me to figure out before I purchased was the distance between the mounting holes, because I have a very narrow space available, and it's just, it looks like it's about 12 5/8 between the mounting holes, which is great because I have a total of 16 inches of space. Anyway, so it's going to be booting up, and theoretically I should be able to access it through the web browser at this point. I'll probably have to connect through the Wi-Fi. Kind of waiting for it to show up. It's got the SSID back here. I don't know how long it's going to take to show up. Well, the light turned from red to green, and it's green flashing. So maybe that means it's showing up, booting up. Now, some of the instructions in here describe waiting several minutes for different things to happen. It's kind of a bummer. Don't know why I would need so much time. Now it's changed from flashing green to flashing amber. Oh, Winegard showing up on the Wi-Fi list, so that's good. I'm going to try to connect to it and punch in the password that's on the bottom. All right, that's a good first step. It's connected with no internet, which is no surprise because I haven't configured it. And so, according to the manual here, I need to go to 10.11.2.1. Let's see what happens. So I punched it in, and it is just waiting. It's flashing amber. Still flashing amber. The website is yet to load. Still flashing amber. "10, 11, oh, 12.1. I think I punched in 2. Or did I? I don't remember. Either way, it's not responding yet. All right, so far no luck. This may explain the refurb. Okay, well, this doesn't look like it's working. I'm going to have to go a little deeper. I'll go get my laptop. All right, so on the troubleshooting page of the manual, it has a section on LED definition. So there's the blinking LED in the back, and currently it's a fast blinking, I would say that's orange. And that system is up and waiting for internet connection. So that's good, theoretically. Perhaps it just needs to be factory reset. Perhaps the address that this says to use has been changed. I don't know. I'm going to boot up the Mac and see what it says. Alright, so after booting up the Mac and connecting to the Winegard and firing up Chrome and going to 10.11.12.1, no problem. Got to the Winegard ConnecT sign-in page where it wants to punch in the admin password, and so far so good. Yeah, so this looks great. I don't know why the mobile device wasn't able to connect. That's kind of a bummer. Because if we're out on the road and our Mac's not, we'll have our Mac probably, but regardless, it would be nice to understand why that didn't connect on my phone. Same exact IP, I was connected, whatever. Perhaps because I was on LTE, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to tinker with this and get it configured to connect with my home network, and then I can start doing some bandwidth tests. All right, so far so good. The Winegard can see 27 Wi-Fi networks here in my residential neighborhood, and my phone can see 9. Of those 9, I think 4 of them or 3 of them are my local network related networks or Wi-Fi's, and 1 guest and a 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So yeah, that's promising. It seems to have better range than my phone, which is a good first step. So now I'm going to select my Wi-Fi here, and on the ConnecT app, and let's see. It wants me to choose bridging mode, which is off, WDS, or relay. I have no idea what these are. I'm just going to go with off for now, and hit continue, and it says waiting for Wi-Fi. It's still spinning. Unfortunately, I don't have screen record set up, so you'll just have to wait a second. I'll speed it up. Still waiting. Still waiting. Oh, there it goes. Does it say? Yeah, it says it's connected to my house Wi-Fi. And so it says Wi-Fi signal 100%, no surprise. And then down at the bottom it has status with navigate to page. And so it looks like there's a number of different configuration pages that can be accessed from this first page. And so you can set up the regular SSID and password, and then the guest network. So this has a guest network that is disabled by default, and then the security type, and so it's WPA2 PSK. It also supports the TKIP version of WPA PSK. And I'm just going to cancel this and go back to the original page. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't seen this in any videos yet. And unfortunately, you're not going to see it here because I'm not recording, but there are, seems like a fairly straightforward set of features within this configuration. It's got a little bit of port forwarding going on, and then let's see, saved Wi-Fi networks is another page. What else we got? Network activity. It seems to show the bandwidth being used, the name of the different devices that are connected, which is just one, and some stats. And let's see, update software. This will be an interesting one. It says the software is up to date. Excuse me. That's cool. I will check for latest version. Let's see what it says. Maybe, oh, it's downloading a file. So it's downloading WGAX-BOTH-2021-0531.bin. And it says apparently that's the software I already have installed, and it's giving me the option to reinstall it and save the configuration. You know what? I'm going to skip that. Everything seems to be factory reset. And speaking of which, on this update software page, there's also an option to restore to factory settings. So I have explored all the features of this. It is, I would say, adequate in terms of the software. There's no firewall features that I see. There's no access to something like a Linux shell or something like I've seen on some other routers. But that's okay. I think that chances are we'll be using our firewall on our phone, our VPN on our phone anyway. So many of the security concerns that some people put into their address with their router, that's not how we tend to work. So I think this is looking good. I'm going to put it up on the roof next and see how that works. All right, so I forgot one thing. I wanted to do a speed test. So with my phone connected through the Winegard, which is connected to my house Wi-Fi, I'm going to run speed test and see what it has to say. And then I'll run the same test again directly connected to my Wi-Fi. So it looks like I'm getting about 13, 14 megs down, 15. So not crazy fantastic. And 6 to 7 megs up. 22 ping. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so now I'm going to change my Wi-Fi directly to the house Wi-Fi. And do the same test. Yep, 80 megs down. So yeah, it's quite a bit faster on my home Wi-Fi. Of course, I'm on 5G, so 5 gigahertz. Sorry. Let me reset that and go to my 2G connection. All right, now I'm on the 2G connection. One more time, 2G, 2.4 gigahertz. Sorry. All right, it's still 77, 80. All right, that's a little disconcerting that the throughput is so slow. The upload's about the same. I'm getting about 7, but that's probably because of my home ISP is pretty limited in that regard. I do have gigabit internet for download though. All right, so I'm going to reconnect to the Winegard. All right, I'm connected. Yeah, it's a little better. It was 10, 11, 12 megs down. I don't know, certainly nowhere near 70 or 80 like I am when I go direct. Do I care? Not sure. I think that for our needs, this will be okay. 8 to 10 megabits down. That's just enough to watch movies if we want, but it's more than enough to do routine internet activities, so long as it's not too intensive. The upload rate is still pretty decent. Yeah, well, you know what, for $100 this isn't bad, because that's what I paid for. It was, I think it was $99.95 or something, and that's okay. I was not prepared to pay for, yeah, the next model up for an RV one that I could find that was well reviewed was the Wi-Fi Ranger, which I'm sure is a fine device, but I just couldn't bring myself to spend nearly or over $500 for a Wi-Fi repeater just to get the 5 gigahertz. The other Wi-Fi extenders that I found, there were some that were made for outdoor use, but there are only a handful that are made for permanent rooftop mounting on an RV. And I don't know if these other ones are built to handle the vibration. Theoretically, they are able to deal with the moisture, but the antennas would have been a problem for those other guys, because I don't want to be going up and down all the time to set up the antennas. Anyway, we're just gonna go with this. It's $100. It'll help us from time to time, I'm sure. And if it becomes a bottleneck, maybe we'll spend the extra money for a 5 gigahertz one. All right, so it's the next day. This guy's been running since yesterday, and I've had some time to think about what was going on before when my tests weren't as fast as I had expected. And two things. The setup on the phone, I think the problem there was that my phone was set to automatically reconnect to a Wi-Fi that has internet. And so that's why I wasn't able to connect to this. It was basically connecting, and then the phone was saying there's no internet, reconnect to something else. And that's why after it reconnected to my house network, I wasn't able to access the admin page on here. So that was the first thing I wanted to mention. The other thing is that I noticed that the bandwidth that I was getting out of this was about 10, maybe 12 megabits at the time. I did some more tests through the evening and in the morning, and the bandwidth went up to nearly 20 megabits. So that's better, but not as good as I had hoped. And excuse me. I think what is going on is the antenna on this is picking up a lot more signal than my phone. The list of SSIDs that this sees is about 4 times as much as what I see on my phone. And so I think what's happening is that the bandwidth is limited because it's getting more collisions, packet collisions, interference with all the other Wi-Fi in the extended neighborhood that my phone doesn't see. So anyway, I think that explains the bandwidth that we're seeing out of this. I still wish it were better, but I think that that is not an unrealistic situation or unreasonable situation for a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi that has good reception. Anyway, I'm going to put this on the van now, or maybe not immediately, but when I will be putting this on the van, and I'm going to go with it. I got it on Amazon, pretty good price as a refurb, basically $100. You know, if it helps us with just casual internet here and there, I think it's well worth it. All right, so up here on top of the van, and this is about where I'm going to put the Winegard. I need to patch it into the rooftop combiner box. I've got all the solar panels covered with tarp to, you know, not have any electricity in the box for now. So I'm going to have to take this cord and trim it and then connect it up inside the box there, and it shouldn't be too bad. I'll show you when I'm done. All right, so I've got this patched in here nice and tight on the connections. It's going to be sitting inside of this watertight box, so I'm just going to heat shrink these to prevent oxidization, and it should be good to go. Before I seal it all up though, I'm going to run downstairs and connect the power to it just to make sure everything is in order before I seal it up. Always good to double check these things. All right, so I tested it. Everything's working. So I'm going to seal it up, or actually I'm going to heat shrink these little guys and seal it up, and then put in some rib nuts. All right, well, there it is. Winegard installed on the roof. It's got Nylock nuts and some Loctite on the ones that used rib nuts, and it's powered. Fits right in. It's pretty much is the last thing we can squeeze on this roof. It's pretty full. Anyway, looking good. Hopefully it meets our needs. See ya.